They had lost everything. Their home, their city, their mother, all turned to smoke and salt. And in the silence of the mountains, far away from the ashes of Sodom, two frightened daughters looked at their aging father and made a decision that would change history forever. Why did Lot's daughters lie down with their own father? Was it desperation or deception? Survival or sin? Today, we uncover the untold story of Lot, a man once called righteous, yet whose final days ended in darkness. Lot's story begins not in Sodom, but alongside one of the most important figures in Scripture, his uncle, Abraham. Lot traveled with Abraham when God called him to leave his homeland and go to a place he would show him. Together, they journeyed through deserts, pastures, and foreign lands, trusting in a God who promised abundance and purpose. And for a time, the two men prospered. Their herds grew, their tents multiplied, and their blessings overflowed. But with prosperity came a problem. The land could no longer sustain them both. So Abraham, ever the peacemaker, offered Lot a choice. He said, "If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." It was an act of humility, a gesture of love. Lot looked around and saw the lush plains of the Jordan Valley, shimmering like the garden of the Lord. It was fertile, rich, and beautiful. But beauty can be deceptive, for among those green fields lay the twin cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, cities already infamous for their wickedness. Lot chose what his eyes desired. He pitched his tent near Sodom, and from that moment, his story began to shift from blessing to burden. At first, Lot was merely a visitor, a man living close to the noise but not part of it. Yet slowly, like smoke seeping under a door, Sodom's influence crept into his life. By the time angels came to visit years later, Lot was no longer outside the city. He was sitting at its gate, a position of honor and authority, perhaps even as a city elder. The righteous man had made a home in a wicked city. One evening, two strangers arrived, their faces calm but radiant, their presence almost otherworldly. Lot, seeing them, bowed low and insisted they spend the night under his roof. He knew Sodom's dangers too well. That night, the city revealed its true heart. Men from every corner surrounded Lot's house, shouting, demanding that he bring out his guests so they could abuse them. Lot's response was shocking, desperate even. In trying to protect his guests, he offered something unthinkable, his two daughters. He begged the mob to spare the men, saying, "Do not do this wicked thing." It's one of the Bible's most disturbing moments, one that shows how deeply corrupted Lot's world had become. His sense of morality had blurred. He was trying to do good in a place where good no longer had meaning. The crowd grew violent, but the angels intervened. They pulled Lot inside, struck the mob blind, and told him the truth. Sodom's sin had reached its limit. God's judgment was coming. The next morning, the angels urged Lot, "Take your wife and your two daughters who are here, or you will be swept away." But Lot hesitated. It's a haunting detail. Even as fire loomed on the horizon, he lingered. Perhaps he remembered the comfort of his home, the life he had built, or maybe he simply couldn't believe it was all about to end. The angels took him by the hand, literally dragged him out, and led him towards safety. Outside the city, they said, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back." Lot ran. His wife followed. His daughters stumbled behind. But then, the silence broke with a single scream. Lot's wife had turned back. And in an instant, she became a pillar of salt. Lot and his daughters fled to the mountains, finding refuge in a small cave, alone, broken, and haunted by loss. Everything they knew gone. Their mother gone. Their city reduced to ashes. And this is where the story takes its darkest turn. The night was silent. No wind, no sound, only the crackle of a dying fire and the distant echo of destruction. Lot and his 2 daughters were alone, truly alone. They had escaped God's fire, but not the shadow it left behind. The world they once knew, Sodom, Gomorrah, the plains, the people, had vanished into smoke. The silence around them was not peace, it was desolation. Lot sat near the cave entrance, his eyes empty. He had lost his wife, his home, his wealth, and even his sense of purpose. He was a man who had once shared company with Abraham, a man who dined with angels. Yet now he was a refugee, hiding in the mountains, stripped of everything. His daughters watched him quietly. They too had lost everything: their home, their future, the possibility of marriage, and the normal life young women of their time dreamed of. The world had ended in their eyes, and they believed humanity itself might have ended with it. Days turned into weeks, and the cave became their world. Outside, there were no signs of life. No travelers, no cities, no villages, just the silent hills and the ghostly reminder of divine wrath that had consumed the land below. One evening, the elder daughter broke the silence. Her voice trembled with both fear and resolve. She said to her sister, "Our father is old, and there is not a man left on earth to come into us, after the manner of all the earth." It was a statement born not of lust, but of despair. In her mind, the destruction of Sodom meant the destruction of civilization itself. Humanity, she thought, might have perished. And so, in the confusion of her reasoning, she formed a plan. "Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed from our father." The younger daughter hesitated. The thought was unbearable, sinful, even blasphemous. But fear does strange things to the human mind, and in their isolation, morality twisted under the weight of survival. That night, they gave their father wine, strong, intoxicating wine. Lot, weary and broken, drank until awareness faded, and as he slept, his elder daughter lay beside him. The Bible records it with chilling simplicity. He perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. In the morning, she told her sister what had happened, and the next night, the younger daughter did the same. Both conceived children by their father, and from those children came 2 nations, Moab and Ammon. It's one of the most disturbing acts in Scripture, one that raises questions not just about morality, but about human nature itself. Were Lot's daughters acting out of sin, or out of fear that life itself had ended? Did they believe they were saving humanity, or were they simply unable to see beyond their trauma and loss? We can't know their full reasoning, but one thing is clear. Their story shows how even those touched by divine mercy can still fall prey to human weakness when fear replaces faith. Lot himself was unaware of what had happened. He woke to his same grief, his same despair, and likely his same silence. He had escaped Sodom, but a different kind of destruction had followed him into the cave. He was a man who had once stood between angels and the wicked, now unknowingly entangled in sin within his own family. And yet, even here, in this darkness, God's plan did not end. For through the lineage of one of those children, Moab, would come a woman named Ruth, who would one day become the great-grandmother of King David, and through that royal line would come Jesus Christ himself. The story that began in shame would one day intersect with redemption. Lot's story faded quietly after the cave. He was never again mentioned as the righteous man living near Abraham, nor as the man who entertained angels. His final recorded act was not of faith or worship, but of silence. Yet even in that silence, God was not done writing the story. From the elder daughter's son came the Moabites, a nation that would one day dwell east of Israel. From the younger daughter's son came the Ammonites, fierce neighbors who often clashed with the children of Israel. At first glance, it seemed the legacy of Lot was corruption and conflict. But God's mercy has a way of weaving light out of darkness. Generations later, in the fields of Moab, a young widow named Ruth would rise from the very line of Lot's eldest daughter. Ruth, a Moabite woman, chose to leave her homeland and follow her Israelite mother-in-law, Naomi, saying those immortal words, "Where you go, I will go, your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Her act of faith and devotion caught the attention of a man named Boaz, and together they became part of a divine lineage that would lead to King David and eventually to Jesus Christ. The same bloodline born from the cave of shame became a thread in the lineage of salvation itself. It's as if God whispered through time, "Even from human failure, I can bring forth redemption." Lot's journey is not merely about judgment or scandal. It's a mirror held up to humanity. He began as a righteous man walking beside Abraham. He chose comfort over conviction. He lingered when told to flee. He survived destruction, yet found himself haunted by loss and moral collapse. And yet, even in his brokenness, God's hand still moved through his descendants. This tells us something profound. God's grace can reach even into the darkest caves of our mistakes. The story of Lot is not just about what went wrong. It's about how divine mercy can find its way even through human imperfection. From Sodom's fire to Moab's fields, the message remains the same. God redeems what seems beyond redemption. When we read Lot's story, it's easy to judge, to shake our heads at the choices, the compromise, the sin. But perhaps this story is meant to remind us of something deeper. That no matter how far we've gone, no matter how much we've lost, no matter what shame lives in our past, God can still write a new ending. The fire may destroy a city, but it cannot destroy grace. And from the ashes of our worst mistakes, God can still raise something holy. Lot's daughters acted in confusion and fear, yet God still turned their story into part of his eternal plan. What man sees as disgrace, God can use as a doorway to destiny. The story of Lot, then, is not just one of judgment. It is a story of survival, sorrow, and ultimately, the quiet persistence of divine mercy. So, when you think about Lot, don't just remember the fire that fell from heaven. Remember the grace that still followed him into the cave. If this story moved you, don't leave without doing 3 things. Like this video to help more people hear these hidden truths of the Bible. Subscribe to the Bible in Reflection for more deep, thought-provoking stories like this one. And in the comments, tell me, what lesson did you take from the story of Lot and his daughters? Was it about judgment or redemption? Because here on the Bible in Reflection, every story, even the darkest ones, reveals something beautiful about the light of God.